Hey there, Cancer. This is Joy with Joy of the World, here to bring an intuitive look into the world going on around you. Hey scribes, welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscription button and ring the bell out beside it, and you'll be notified anytime I post new videos. Also, if you find you like the content that we provide here at this channel, give it a big thumbs up and share it with those you love. You'll also notice I'm in a different environment and surroundings, so please your patience and understanding, as the readings are not always as smooth as possible, and this light is pretty bright. But this is the best spot I could find right now to try and get this out to you today, because this reading is insistent. I tried to get on with this yesterday, Cancer, and we had a serious interruption, so I just had to make a stop and leave it the way it was. But you're like, do not put my cards away, bring the same thing out and let's go there again. So hey, it is your reading, so that's what we're going to do, Cancer. Now here at the top, what you're letting me know is we have separation going on. Submission, shed, discard, retreat, birthright, benefits, inheritance, and property. And you're really kind of like keying in and pointing the finger on that birthright. So we will make it there, but we're going to start with this first channel going down of what you are leaving behind. And you're leaving behind the relegation to the past, so the way things have always been, this broken heart, this weeping heart, the grief, the sorrow, those things that make it very heavy. For you, it's more heavy than it is broken, and that is dysfunctional, right? And so you're wanting to get into that inheritance in your birthright of things going well, of stepping into your prosperity and the benefits of the life that you were here to lead. Because you're like, I'm not here to lead a life that is full of grief and sorrow. It's got to be more than that. And I'll tell you, Cancer, you are on the right track. We are created of the essence called happiness. That's why we're, trying to pursue it as something beyond us. What we have to do is stand in the rights of knowing that we are happy, and then get to know who we are in that happiness and what causes it to spark, to liven up, to really shine, and then step forward in that. But for now, we're looking at this broken, or in your case, heavy heart, and underneath it is Ancestors Polar Bear 26. Now, know from a previous reading, like that wound, you are melting the ice around it by dismissing that wound and telling it to go, clearing it from your space, that it no longer has to be that way for you, and making room for the new life to come in, for the love of your life to come in. And that's more than just a person, it's the beingness of who you are, inviting in that environment of what you feel inside to also surround you, to be in integrity and walking in oneness with yourself. And you're letting me know what that broken heaviness of heart, that ancestry, that way of having been raised, whether it was people who did that to you, or whether it was conditions and the way that you had to respond in your growing up years in order to survive. But you're wanting to step into thriving. You're wanting to actually go beyond that and to step into your amness, your beingness, your divine presence. So underneath this, we have 14 coming in as Temperance. And that could seem like a good thing. Be patient, and yes, Patience is making another debut on the spread later on, but this one is hearkening more to you having to always be the bigger person in a situation, which means things being out of balance, right? And this card is really about bringing in the way it should be, being able to stand on your own 2 feet, being in that balance, to be able to rise up into your essence, your beauty, your peaceable kingdom, your household of freshness and freedom, right? But here you were always having to be the bigger person, which meant a lot of times there was loss, which is definitely defining that grief that you had going on in your heart. So you asked me, you said, I want to do an energy session, call this in. I was like, well, what are we calling in? And the cards began to flow, and from there it stepped into this one. This is from the Mary L Tarot. It's the only Mary L on the spread, but you definitely wanted it there. And it can seem kind of dark, but for me it's treasures of darkness, and in comes the 9 of discs. Now, my decks are not inverted in any way, but cards are always welcome to come out in their inversion in order to bring across the message that needs to be heard. So this coming out is pretty potent, pretty halala, pertinent and relevant, okay? But you're talking about ushering in this greatness, this divineness of, you're like, I've done all the work to get to this state in my life of personal happiness. You're wanting to clear that energy and shift it around you. Oh, sorry, winged creatures nibbling on me here. to be able to stand in your birthrights, to be able to stand in what you have worked long and hard for, that you have overcome, and you've not only done the spiritual work, you've done the human work, you've done the physical here, and you're doing the final step, which is believing beyond belief, inviting it in and making a way. You've gone past that wound and you've crossed kind of like that blank territory and bridge that gap. Like, I remember y'all talking about stepping over that grave in one of your previous readings. You stepped over that grave, that chasm of nothingness, and you've gotten to the other side, and now you're wanting to fill it, and this is what you're wanting to fill it with. Look at all that cosmic creative energy. But what is the focus here is this channeling. It's like your future self beyond your higher self. Your future self, which is your higher self, moving you forward, has flown in, is coming in and coming down to channel this energy in to meet and greet you. Well, what energy is that? Well, let's see. Here it is. And you'll see why you said, don't throw that spread away. We still want it. You know, if there was an interruption, that's fine, but let's get back to it on a new day. And that is today, my friends. We have 34. We have creative concepts bringing in this order. And what is this order? The door to personal healing and happiness. And you want your own personal life. You're not wanting to have to stand in the footsteps of those who've gone before you, because in this case we could call it generational curses, and that's not pointing at people or places or things. That has to do with energies, mindsets, patterns that we're playing out that often put you at the disadvantage of having to take the higher road, which we could think, oh, that's the noble way, isn't that the spiritual evolvement? But the thing is, we are human, we are here on earth, and this cry is rising up of, I want my happiness, I want my pleasure. And when you've gone the spiritual route and you've cleared out everything from there, and you're walking in your truth, your purity of heart, this is exactly what it should look like, exactly what it should be. And you should be at peace with that. You should be at peace with wanting this divine beauty, this it's a luxurious environment. It's not even just things that you can touch. It is a feeling of your soul, feeling right within yourself, feeling right with all that is around you. Because you go, I've earned it, I deserve it, not because I'm more worthy than anybody else, which means it's not even about other people. It is totally about you. And that's what we're bringing it back to here. So you're doubling up on that creative power with 33 right here, the change and the chameleon. Look at you, getting in tune with your environment. See, your environment is beginning to mirror you. And this chameleon actually isn't about shape shifting, it's about environment shifting, shifting the environment around you. That no longer does it have to go back to this, that you don't have to be alone. You can be in unison, unity, and calling in that Milky Way, that cosmic creative energy which charges the atmosphere with particles of that happiness, of that stardust, of that beingness and wonder and imagination of things being better, a better place, a more hopeful way, right? So it's not just you doing it alone, it's your energy that you're bringing in. Oh, I love it. Sorry, that's part of the patience, y'all. You ought to see these set up. It is very creative. But that's you ushering this in. Remember your future self, channeling it in. Look at all that divine beauty going on there. Okay, let me see if I can get the glare off. Can you see it? All right, we've got some of the Black Moon Lilith going on and some of your knowingness from this life as well. Now, beneath the chameleon, the change, look, we're bringing in that unity, that union, that partnership connection of any kind. Because see, what this was doing before is leaving you out in the cold, leaving you with that heaviness of heart. It's almost like two people or two situations racking up charges, right? And then you being left with the bill. Whether that's another person or whether it was a job or anything else, it was you having to be the one maturing, growing, developing. And that was exhausting, because where it is beautiful and it's part of life, life has its own built-in rewards. We don't do it to get the rewards. We do work because it produces results, right? And reward is a result. It's a result of knowing that you are in the right channel and the flow. And that's why you called in this door to personal health and happiness that you were wanting. You were wanting to live a happy, healthy life, which is your birthright, right, Cancer? So look at this. See the union? See that swirl? Oh, fantastic. Look at that. This is the essence of time, okay? More than eternity in the circle, that type of thing. This is the spiral of time and the ability to grow and develop and transcend and move beyond, which is why your future self is ushering it in. It's being able to retain the wisdom and the insight from the past, but also having the inspiration and the imagination of a youth, of a child, of stepping in fresh and new with that hopeful, beautiful, uplifted heart, right? Very Cancerian, this beautiful heart that something as massive and powerful as your love is able to be upright and to be enthroned in this grace and in this place, right? Sorry. Mosquitoes. All right, so the next row that we're stepping into, seeing that we've shaken it up and we've opened the door on this Two of Cups, we have the King of Cups coming in. And this is clearly you here. You've been saving yourself for this time. There's something special about yourself that you always knew was inside, but you didn't feel the unction to pursue it at the time, to necessarily delve it in. You just kept cherishing it and treasuring it in your heart, knowing that day would come. It's almost like like an heirloom, like a treasure that was being saved and put away for the house you've been waiting for. You were saving something for a time such as this. I love it. I love it, and it's more the swirls, the cycles of time. But this is something beyond this earth, beyond earthly pleasures, okay? Maybe we'll find out what that is here. Okay, so underneath the King of Cups, we have incoming. Remember I said we were gonna have another visit? We have 16. We have patience. Let's see if we can get the glare off of Mama here. So again, this is more in the working in the heart and working with the cycles of life, the cycles of time, and not necessarily the patience like the tick-tock on the clock kind of thing, but it's more of allowing things to develop, to grow, to reveal themselves. You don't want to rush ahead of it. You just want to usher it in and step into it, to have it come alive and begin. So this more has to do with the beginning, and this is because of the purity of heart, right? You've cleansed all this other away, the deceit, the temptation to think that you're not worthy of it, or having to even defend why you want something or why you desire it. And that's why I love that this cup has been protected. See, it's been sealed for a time such as this, that it hasn't had to live through those taunts and threats. Now your mind did, but your mind is now covered, as we see in that image back there, and your heart is as well. You've maintained this purity of heart, and that is what has kept you alive, kept the magic alive, and it is bringing in what? Number 14, Lovaria, let love grow. So the seed is sown and it's begun to grow, and now it's going to spring up, and it's going to bypass those old days, those, you know, being frozen in time, the same cycle playing out, feeling like things never change, and that magic waking up. These are what's coming in alongside this, right? Running in the same vein, in the same channel. And this is down more on your, let's see, mind body, on your body level, all right? So your body's stepping in and unfurling and opening up. For some of you, it's the way you always desired to look or to be or to have or to know. And don't let those trigger you, okay? Let them be that sincere purity of heart, that is coming forth, that you're now in that position of power because you are stable. You're not having to second guess, defend, or doubt, all right? And those energies being around you are being swept away and being carried away, and you're allowing the seed to take root. How do we know? This Ace of Pentacles is here. Look, it is about the tangible, living in your heart, a garden of delights, things here on earth. Because remember, you already did this spiritual work over here. You kept being the bigger person, doing the growth and maturing and bearing that weight and that burden, but it wasn't bringing in the reward. The reward is what allows it to continue to move on and to flow, and for you to be restored and nourished and continuing to be a flowing source. Well, that was cut off. Then we stepped into the chameleon, which was bringing in that flow, that connectivity. And now here, that is the union of it going on. And that's why it looks like you doing your little happy dance here, right? You might be all by yourself, but you are not alone. You are in this happiness in yourself. You are the seed of delight that's waking up and erupting into our world for others to see, to know that it's possible. And it's whether you ever explain it with the lips to anyone else's ear, it is the fact that you are living it, and you're living it out loud, shamelessly and free, because there should be no shame associated with a person being happy and living their own best life, right? Okay, so next we have a little credit card coming in here, and it's called Cute and Clever. It looks like this, right? About the sweet life, about really that unity, that marriage of the delights of not just dreaming it and desiring it, but doing it as well, living it. And it's coming in like this. It's dripping with that honey, and you are the flower that is being pollinated in this row, all right? So you've already opened up. That's this blossoming of heart going on here. Remember, the seed's been sown, and now it's up to the state where that plant is bearing blossoms. Well, that's what the bee comes in for. Excuse me, y'all. That bee comes in to pollinate that flower so it'll bear fruit, and the fruit here is that sweetness, that deliciousness, that tangible part of life, that cute and clever. All right, so you'll be able to share with others what it is that you have gone through in this process, right? As simple as it is. And in comes the magician. You're letting them know, this is how I make the magic. I imagine it, right? I remember who I am, where I come from, and where I'm going. You talk to them about that future self, about believing in hope against hope, and maintaining integrity with that desire in your heart that you're no longer entertaining lower energies where you have to keep doing this, that you're saying that is not truly divine and spiritual. Living without reward doesn't, seeking reward doesn't mean that you're unspiritual, right? You begin to speak the truth and you begin to share the magic of how we bring in this better world and this better day. Cancer, I'm thrilled that you continue to have concern about the home of our earth, about the heart of that home. And here it's coming in, look. All that the world contains. This is the abundance of the Milky Way. I love this world card. To me, it's very much the star and all that it contains. It brings in that magic, that abundance, that flow, and also the tenacity to go along with that grace. Not just one side of the coin. It takes both sides for a coin to spin, for it to be genuine and true. And so you talk about bringing in that strength of character, that purity. Remember, that was your patience, the purity of heart, and now moving forward in that to be confident and bold and to bring in those rewards. And the rewards of happiness is what? The 10 of Cups. Look at this. So many divine unions going on, everyone's cup being full, and all these little fledglings coming around of people living in the fullness of that love because of your divine example, because of your tenacity and your devotion to the truth and having brought it all the way in for us. I'm ecstatic about that, Cancer, and I'm happy to see you living your best life and having the courage to step past what you've known into your knowing, what you've treasured in your heart, into this beautiful cup that you've been saving for a time such as this. I'm glad you've chosen to share it here on this channel at Joy to the World, and I'm privileged and honored to have walked through this journey with you. Well, Cancer, this is Joy saying, I love you. I believe in you. Bye for now.